Hello guys, Terrabator aka Yorck here, and today I will be talking about the Yorck. And as you can say a lot into this match, and I see 3 North Carolinas on the other team, 2 in a division, and I think, oh my god, we only have New Mexicos to counter them in a division. So yeah, I knew this was going to be a tough one, but this match turned out to be a pretty good showcase of the capabilities of the Yorck. The first half of the match is going to be pretty slow, which is typical for later tier matches, but it opens up after about 9 minutes, so for the first half of the match I'll be talking about the Yorck, which gets some pretty bad rep. Um, well, as you know, Yorck is a tier 7 German cruiser, and the reason it gets really bad rep is it's different than the other German cruisers. So starting with tier 5, you get the experience, you start getting the German experience. You start sensing that German unique German feeling, which is you get great high velocity guns with amazing AP damage, but with low HE damage and a mediocre fire chance. And the ships themselves have lower HP than their other tier counterparts up until tier 8. So they are pretty fragile compared to them. They don't have much armor. So yeah, starting with the Königsberg, you get these amazing APs which absolutely shreds the lower tier cruisers and battleships also, which is very surprising. You can do pretty good AP damage to lower tier battleships with the Königsberg, and I had a great time in it, and I didn't have any difficulties. Then you get to Nuremberg, which is a slightly up armored and yeah, you can say that this is a slightly up armored Königsberg that doesn't tend to pop its engine when somebody just sneezes in its way. But starting with the Nuremberg, you start getting much better opponents. So, but the Nuremberg can still hold its own, because it still gets down tiered with tier 5s and 4s sometimes. And then you get the Yorck, and it's just completely different. It still has that unique German traits like low HP. It has the lowest amount of HP compared to the other tier 7s, and it doesn't have great rudder turn rate, for example. It's not too bad, but it's not great either. And the most unique thing about this ship is its AP is pretty bad. I mean, not bad damage-wise, but the AP rounds are not high velocity. So you need to rely on your HE shells instead, and I think that's what throws people off. They still try to use AP rounds, and it just doesn't work. Let me tell you, they are just not good at above like 7 or 8 kilometers. The reason for this is HE rounds travel much faster than the AP rounds on the Yorck for some reason. So suddenly you have to use HE as your main weapon, main round, and it gets some time to get used to. Suddenly you're not doing monster citadels, but you just kind of have to spam HE all day long in order to do damage. But in Yorck's case, I don't think that's a bad thing, because the HE rounds of the Yorck are pretty damn good. First, your guns are the biggest among other cruisers. You get 210mm guns. These are pre-war guns, so I guess that's why the AP runs are so bad. But your HE damage is much higher compared to the other German cruisers. So the HE runs on the Yorck do 2900 damage, well, it's still lower than the Miyoko's guns, but they still do pretty good damage, and they do this damage pretty consistently. Also, I found out that HE rounds tend to disable components on the enemy ships pretty often, especially against destroyers. If you can land a few if you can land a few hits on an enemy destroyer, you will be disabling their rudder, the engine, you will take out a few guns, start a few fires. It's absolutely devastating against them. So you have to use the HE shells, and yeah, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing, actually. It's it's unique in the German line, so you get to have a HE spammer cruiser, which is the meta right now. But also the HE shells have a pretty good flight arc. Not only they do travel fast, but their trajectory is a bit shallow. But they tend to drop down very fast towards the end. Apart from the guns, I mentioned that the Yorck has the lowest amount of HP compared to the other tier 7 cruisers, and this is true, but what I found out is it's still relatively tough. I say that because it tends to take lower amount of damage compared to the other cruisers. Its citadels are not that big, so you don't get citadel very often, well, except when you get hit by a Fuso or something. But apart from the relatively low HP pool, this is a pretty tough ship, and if you angle it, you will bounce a lot of AP shells. And if you angle it, the battleships will have a very tough time citadeling you, which is unlike the Miyoko, which is pretty much a floating citadel. As you know, the Miyoko has 5 guns, and 5 guns plus a huge engine boiler rooms above the borderline, and plus it has torpedo launchers at the back, so there's a lot of spaces to crit it from, and as soon as you show your broadside to another cruiser or a battleship, you are in great danger of being citadeled and losing a huge amount of HP. Well, this is also true for Yorck, but it feels like it doesn't take nearly as much damage. Well, that's my experience, and you will see later on in the game that it is indeed a very tough ship. Also, let's talk about the tactics. Normally, I'm a very aggressive cruiser captain. I don't like to stand around or in the back. I like to do damage constantly during the match, so I constantly seek out weak spots in the enemy lines. But with the Yorck, you just can't be focused, especially early on. So what I tend to do is I find these spots on the map where I can shoot without being spotted, and I try to abuse them as much as possible. Well, here we see I think that's a Mahan. Tries to sneak into me, but he doesn't see me. Now he pops smoke, but I activate my hydroacoustic ability, and he thinks he's safe, but I can't see him from 4.5 kilometers, and he just... And because of that he dies, and he panic torps me. And misses. And of course, you get to detect the torpedoes from very far, so evading torps with the Yorck is not a problem. Oh, by the way, the rudder turn time, I need to mention this. Almost all of the ships in the German cruiser line have pretty bad rudder shift times, but the Yorck is an exception. Um, it has pretty quick other turn time. I think you can get it down to 7 or 6 seconds with the upgrades. So, and it's not a very long ship. So you have a pretty low turning radius for its size, and because of that, you can actually evade tons of damage by just cutting your speed and turning. And it's actually very useful in avoiding battleship salvos and such. And as you can see, I have 2 North Carolinas pushing to A, and a Mogami, and another Mogami is coming up from the back. And I'm just stuck here, so I decide to use this little island as cover, and I will make a last stand here, utilizing the same tactics: stay hidden, just spam HE. And this North Carolina is showing me its broadside, and I think, okay, maybe I will switch to AP and try my luck. When the AP shells penetrate, you will do massive damage in the Yorck. They are just monstrous shells, but you need the good angle, and you need to engage at close ranges to make use of it. As you can see, that was almost 6,000 damage volley on the North Carolina. I especially like to use these shells below 8 kilometers or so, but it's a battleship, so I say, why not? North Carolinas don't have much armor anyway. So now I think he's pissed off. He's coming for me. He angled towards me, and I stopped doing damage. As you can see, the damage window for your AP shells are pretty tight, so you need to have good angle. You can't even penetrate the superstructure at this range, so I switch back to AP. But now I know that my time is running out. This guy is just trying to flush me out of here, and this Mogami is just determined to hit me from the back. As you can see, he's trying to shoot over the mountain, but the mountain is still covering me. So I decide to shoot a salvo, since just to throw him off. Most battleship captains actually cut power and turn slightly when they're approaching the corners, just to throw off torpedoes. But this guy just doesn't do that. I think he just got citadelled by the other ship up there, which is a Tirpitz, I think. And he eats 3 torps and dies. So, and I'm suddenly back in the game. I can move forward to evade the Mogami's AP shots. And as you can also see, the Yorck is much heavier armored, so it doesn't take much HE damage from the other ships, which is pretty surprising. As I said, it doesn't have much HP, but it doesn't take much damage either, as long as you don't get citadelled. And now that North Carolina is shooting me, I know that I need to get out. I just couldn't shoot down this spotter plane, which has been spotting me all day long. And I have no chance but to go out and engage this Mogami, which has 10,000 health. And is doing that throttling game, which is very common in the later tiers, and you should also do it in the Yorck. I forgot to mention it. The Yorck teaches you to throttle properly. If you throttle properly, you can avoid a lot of damage, and since you don't have much HP pool, you need to do that. As you can see, the Mogami is doing just that, but the Yorck's HE is pretty good, and it does pretty good damage to the Mogami. He's on fire. The HE does great damage as long as you hit the superstructure, and the German cruisers don't, the Japanese cruisers don't have much superstructure, so it's actually hard engaging them with HE. But he's on fire, and looks like he used his repairs. So yeah, he's out, and I just turned away. I knew he was gonna die. And there it goes. And the Turpits actually killed the North Carolina in the meanwhile. So I just have to deal with this Mogami. But the problem is I only have 10k health, and he has almost 35,000k health. So what to do? Well, the best thing I can do is angle and close the range. You don't want to engage a York at close range, believe me. Not only you have torps, at close ranges, your APs deal massive damage, absolutely massive damage. So this guy's shooting a HE at me right now. And I just cut the throttle and turn. Just watch the throttle on the left, the speedometer on the left. See what I am doing, and I switched the AP just to see if I'm doing damage at 8 kilometers, but no, it's just glancing blows. But I decided to keep at it because he's closing the range rapidly, and I just want to shoot my torps just to pressure him. But as you can see, I'm bouncing a lot of Mogami shells. It's actually pretty good. And now he's showing broadside, but I still can't penetrate. But I know that he's gonna try to torp me eventually. And now it happens. Still glancing blows. But now I have a great angle. I just dump my torps and Citadel time. 5 Citadels in a row. He loses almost more than 30,000 HP in just 1 or 2 seconds, and he's out of here. So that's 3 ships down, 5 Citadels, 3 torp hits, 155 hits. That's pretty damn good for a York. And no, they only have a destroyer and 2 carriers, and luckily the carriers just didn't try to take me down. They were too busy supporting their forces up north, near our spawn. Looks like that Mogami also did a lot of work, so we're pretty much carrying it for the team. Yeah, so I got out of that Mogami engagement with only almost 4,000 HP down. That's pretty damn good. So yeah, the York is not a bad ship, guys. You just need to learn to love the HE shells, but you should also seek close range engagements whenever you can. You need to ambush people, and you just can't get focused by a lot of ships at the same time. If that happens, just turn away and run. And angle your ship. The York can take a lot of punishment when you angle your ship. And a wild your Ryujo pops up. And I had AP loaded, which is, well, it's actually pretty good against carriers, but not from this angle. So I switched to HE shells, and you will see what the York's HE does against light armored targets. Just watch this. 10,000 hit. But of course, it's just spamming planes. Oh, I should also mention that the York actually has pretty decent AA for its tier. And I don't even have advanced fire training on this thing. And yeah, I don't even have the ability, but the York tends to shoot down a lot of planes on its own. So if you have advanced fire training, you don't even need the defensive AA just to take down planes. And as you can see, just my AA is just murdering that Ryujo. And down he goes. That was pretty fun. I like freebies. So that's 4 kills now. And I'm, of course, feeling pretty good about this ship. And we win! So yeah, I had a pretty good match. And I don't think I'm going to be selling my York. I actually unlocked the Admiral Hipper, and I'm trying to buy all the upgrades for it. I need to grind some credits, but as you can see, the ship is pretty damn good when you just play for its strengths. Um, yeah, that's. I got 11,000 experience, but you need to keep it in mind that I was running all the flags plus the plus 100% camo. Um, so that is to be expected, but the credit payout is pretty good as well. 560,000. 4 ships down, 3,000 base XP. That's pretty damn good for any ship. And yeah, I did I did almost 170k damage here, I think, at a quick glance. So yeah, I hope I could give you some pointers about how to play this ship. It's not a bad ship at all. Just learn to play for its strengths, and it will be a breeze to unlock the Admiral Hipper. But as I said, I will be keeping this because I had a lot of fun in this, and I hope you enjoyed this commentary. And I will see you guys next time.